I am having so much fun with AI. I believe it's become my new marketing assistant. That's the way I'm utilizing it. ChatGPT is sort of the biggest piece I use. We create custom GPTs for our customers to help us if we're doing social media or we're doing content for them. It doesn't all sound like Kirby Hossman's voice. We create it in their voice so that we can do that. I hear pushback about like, don't use AI to write your blog posts. And I agree with that to a degree, right? Like I agree that you shouldn't be lazy about it. But like if I create 10 things that I've learned from thought leaders. And then I write all those out and then I do a video around it and then ask ChatGPT to help me write a blog. I don't think that's cheating. I think that's just a smart use of my time.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Big Hitters Podcast. I'm joined by Kirby Hossman, who I just had to perfect his name before we hopped on this call. And I know
You nailed
Kirby.
it.
Yeah, I know Kirby through Dan Martell's elite coaching community. He's becoming a friend of mine. And Kirby has a number of things going on. He's an expert marketer. He's a coach. He's got some real estate. He's written some books. So I'm excited to dive into it here with him today. Kirby, let's start with this. Just tell us a little bit about your businesses and how we got to where we are today.
Yeah, man. We actually started in the branded merch space and the marketing space about 20 years ago. We actually just celebrated our 20-year anniversary for our company, Hossman Marketing. And we started branded merch. And then as a lot of businesses do, the clients would come to us and say, "Hey, can you do video?" Yeah, we can do video. That was my background. And then it's like, "Can you do digital marketing? Can you do this?" And so the business expand to the point where we're an agency model when it comes to marketing. And then being the serial entrepreneur that I am, I've started a bunch of different things. Some of them have worked and some of them not. I mean, we've got Simple Signs and Print, which I bought that. I started Hossman Brewing. That didn't work. We got, we had a brewery for about 3 years and I decided the lifestyle was just not one that I wanted to live. And then Hossman Properties, which is a real estate company. We actually do Airbnbs and motels. And so, yeah, we're kind of all over the place, but it's a fun ride, man.
What's your primary focus? What's the main thing that you do day in, day out?
Yeah, no, the Hossman Marketing is that's I always like to say that's the straw that stirs the drink. So for 20 years, that's been the thing that has driven revenue and has allowed us to not only fund some of these experiments, but also promote them, right? I'm creating the marketing tool that will promote the real estate, that will promote the sign shop, that will promote those things. And so, yeah, I do that every day.
Okay, well, let's talk about that for a sec. So what types of things do you typically do with your clients? What ways do you help them with their marketing? And then like what's maybe your value prop, your thing that makes you guys different?
Yeah. So the way that I look at it is most every organization, there are 4 ways that they need to promote themselves: with signage, with some sort of print, with branded merch, and with digital marketing. And it's a la carte. Some people need all of that. Some people need one of those things. And we provide that. And so it's one of those where some people will meet with them and go, hey, yeah, I just need you to run my Google ads for us, and we could do that. Some people were like, "Hey, we've got a trade show, and Some people are, "Hey, we are a startup, and we need everything." So with many people, it's a la carte. Some people were their marketing department, and it's fun for us. That variety is nice. When it comes to our unique proposition, I mean, we kind of say that we have our 3 uniques, right? That we're full house in-house, right? So we can go, we're kind of total agency. We are customer centric, which it just means it's my way of saying like, if you succeed, I succeed. Right. And then the other one is no surprise charges. If you have ever ordered any branded merch as an organization, or if you've done video work or whatever, it's like people tend to always go over the budget. Right.
Mhm.
With us, there's no surprise charges. So if we tell you that the story I always use, Andrew, is that like when I first got in the industry of branded merch, I'd come to you and I'd be like, "Hey man, I got a special on $301 mugs." And you'd be like, "Oh, cool. So it's $300?" I'd be like, "Well, there's a setup charge, there's an art charge, there's a shipping charge." And by the end, the $301 mugs would cost $500, right? And then when you get that invoice, you're frustrated. So we've just said, look, we're going to roll all that in the front and say, here's how much it always costs. And we started that on the video side. And in 20 years, I've never gone over a quote, not one time. Now, there are times where that costs me money, but I sort of chalk that up into marketing so that I can tell that story and go, look, it's about trust. And so those are a few of the uniques about us.
That's awesome. Okay. So, how do most clients find you? And then what is the end result typically of working through your process?
Yeah, I love that question, Andrew. So ironically, I think there's kind of two core ways right now, and we're working on other ways. That's something I think we need to grow on. But we do a lot of content. We have multiple podcasts for our business. We do a lot of social media. And so sort of organic through content is probably 1 or 1A. And then we have a sales team that just reaches out to new prospects and kind of works that new business. To be honest with you, where we really the good news about us, we're not as great at finding new clients sometimes. We keep people forever. And that's like we always say that we're trying to create 20-year customers. And so our reoccurring clients keep coming back for more. And so I we actually need to focus more. We need to take our own advice, right? Like, 'cause it's what do they say about the cobbler always has bad shoes? Like, we need to work on our outreach for ourself, but because once we get a client, we keep them for an average of 7 to 9 years, it's like, we wanna make sure we keep them happy rather than chase new business and lose our current.
That's awesome. Well, I love that. I mean, fulfillment and delivery is huge, right? That's a huge
Yeah.
part of your business, and so, sales is obviously another huge part of it as well. So let's talk about your like what are some sticking points right now? I find that this does pretty well when we talk about either challenges you're facing or things that you're barriers you're trying to overcome. Like what sticking points do you guys have in your business right now?
Yeah, I love it. So recently, so Alex Hermosi, I don't know if you follow some
Yeah.
of his content. So I know he's coming up with a new book here almost as we speak, but his one right before this is Leads, where he talks about the four core ways to get customers, where he talks about it's cold outreach, warm outreach, um, content, and ads, right? And so I drew that up on our board and I was like, okay, warm outreach, we kill. We're great at kind of continuing the relationship and doing that. Content, amazing. That's like, those are our two things that we're really good at. And then I looked at the other two and I was like, we're not doing well on ads and we're not doing well in cold outreach. And so literally for the first 6 months of this year, that's been the thing that I'm trying to get right. I'm trying to do better at that because I'm like, man, if we're keeping people. So if we can start getting new customers flowing into the business every week, then we'll really take off. So I feel like those are two of the sticking points for us.
Kirby, out of curiosity, what was total top line revenue last year, and what's your goal for upcoming years?
I love that question. So last year we're at a run rate of $100,000 a month, so 1.2 million, and the goal this year is to get just past two. We're at right now we're at about literally it's over on my board. Sorry, it's but we're at 12% up for this year, which is not bad, especially because I think because of some of the uncertainty, there's a lot of people in our industry who are down. So 10, 12% up is pretty solid for us, but it's not where I want to be just yet.
Let's talk about AI for a second.
Mm.
So how are you using it now, and then where do you feel like you could be using it that you're not?
I am having so much fun with AI.
That's great.
I yeah, I'm fascinated by what I was saying, I've been talking a lot about this. I believe it's become my new marketing assistant. That's the way I'm utilizing it. ChatGPT is sort of the biggest piece I use. Um, and so we create custom GPTs for our customers to help us so that if we're doing social media or we're doing content for them, it doesn't all sound like Kirby Hossman's voice. We create it in their voice so that we can do that. I ideate content. The other thing I use it for, I hear pushback about like, don't use AI to write your blog posts. And I agree with that to a degree, right? Like I agree that you shouldn't be lazy about it. But like I'll do videos and I know you're a content creator as well, Andrew. But like if I create 10 things that I've learned from thought leaders and then I write all those out and then I do a video around it and then ask ChatGPT to help me write a blog, I don't think that's cheating. I think that's just a smart use of my time, right?
Yeah.
Especially because I've given it writing samples, I've trained it properly. And so those are just a few of the things I'm using. I guess the other thing we do a podcast, my daughter and I actually do a podcast called Better Merch, Better Marketing. And pretty much every week I use ideogram.ai to help me create the thumbnail. It's different every week, and I'm getting better with the prompts about it, and it's very clearly AI, so I don't feel like yep,
Ideogram.ai.
yep,
That's one
free.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, and it's a free image creator. Um, and I've had some good luck with it. It's just like anything else. If you prompt it well, um, so if you check out the podcast, most of the thumbnails have been created through there. And
Sweet.
then I'm checking out, and I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm wanting to research Replit. I just heard about that the other day, and so
Yeah, I have
I'm
heard
researching
of
that as well. So yeah, those are a few things.
it. Okay. Where do you feel like you could be using it that you're not?
Oh, that's good. Oh, I know. This is something. Okay, so this is both answers. Okay, so the VO3. Have you played with any of the VO3, the
Yeah,
video stuff?
yeah,
So I just played with a little of that recently, and man,
crazy.
I that's where it's going. Like all of a sudden, I think that we'll be able to create even more great like commercials without having to hire actors and all those sort
Yeah,
of things if you can
yeah.
get the prompts right. So we did a social media ad campaign for a realtor recently where we prompted it to create bumbling, goofy looking realtors who were not prepared, who were cheesy, who were all those, and we created the just the video around it, and then juxtaposed what our realtors look like. And so we did like 3 or 4 of those, and they were really well received, and it's like, "Ooh, that to me is the thing that we'll be doing more in the future."
Yeah, you got to. So actually, it's funny you mentioned that because we target builders, commercial builders, residential builders. And my initial ad that we recorded, I was like, man, this isn't very good. And so my marketing guy replaced it with a Google VO video, and all of a sudden our ads were performing much better. So
So interesting.
it's crazy how the things you can do these days. Okay, what's something we haven't talked about that gets you fired up? It could be talk about one of your books. Yeah, let's talk about your books and your course to the audience.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I think one of the things that you might know about me is you mentioned I was a coach. So I was a business coach for the Small Business Development Center, the SBDC. And so it was really cool because I got to meet with businesses in all areas. So it'd be like something where, hey, we're just starting up a mom and pop shop. Hey, we're just launching this big thing. Or it was, hey, we've been in business for 2 years. We're doing okay, but our marketing isn't great. And so what I found is I found myself saying the same stuff to everybody. Right. And so I created sort of a framework that I went through and just started asking people. And it's the target marketing framework. And so I wrote a book called Hit the Target, which is what you referenced. And it's so the target marketing framework is in a really quick nutshell is most businesses struggle in one of these areas. So T stands for target, identify your perfect customer. It is remarkable how many businesses go, yeah, 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 but they don't do the work to answer that question. So they don't know what platform to be on or what the messaging should look like, who that ideal customer is. That's T. A stands for attract and build your list. That's another thing. It's like so many folks are like, well, I'm doing great social media, but they don't have their own list. They rely on rented media, not owned media. So that's A. R is reach, build your reach, reach across platforms, social media. G stands for go get it. That's when you're advertising and selling, right? E is enthusiastic brand ambassadors. I always say, like, what does Apple and Yeti and Harley Davidson, what do they have? They have enthusiastic brand ambassadors. And so we talk about how to create those. And then finally is track. So most organizations I was working with, their sales were just a roller coaster. If they were slow, they were doing all their proactive stuff. And so the following month they'd be busy. And in the busy month, they didn't do any proactive stuff. So the next month sucked. And so creating those activities that you knew if you did them consistently, as Dan Martell would say, the goal would become inevitable. And so that's sort of the framework around hit the target.
That's awesome. Where can people get a copy of that? You mentioned you might want to give it away for free. I mean, we'll gladly take that offer. So where can we get the course and the book?
Yeah, man. Hitthetargetbook.com. And it does. You get the ebook, you get the audiobook if you'd rather listen to it that way, and a video course where I sort of break down each of the steps as well. And that's my gift to you and your listeners. That's great.
Hey man, we'll take anything free. We'll take it. Okay, let's talk about Dan Martell for a second.
Yeah.
Buy back your time. We met through his coaching program. What are some ways that his content and kind of teachings and philosophy have impacted you?
I love this. I'm actually thinking about doing a whole one-on-one session on this. So I was thinking about it on my run this morning. Um, his concept around goal setting, I've actually done sessions and taught sessions around goal setting, but the one piece where he talked about, I'm sure you saw the video where he was like, set this giant goal and then you bring it down to what the year is. And then what are your daily activities that make it inevitable? Like those daily activities is really one of those things, those daily habits. He calls them the 5 daily non-negotiables. Um, that was a really big unlock for me because I think that's a piece that most goal setting things miss. So that was a really big one. Digging into the tactics of the 5 daily non-negotiables, I do a lot of content and a lot of social media. But once I've understood his concept about the 3 stories a day on Instagram and it ends up being Instagram and Facebook for me. Um, that was a real unlock. My social media numbers on both of those platforms went through the roof in the last 30 days because I was committed to doing that activity and I had no idea. Like I was doing more than most people already, just but I was posting on Reels and I was posting regularly. This was a different thing. And then just as a third thing, recently he talked about one of the ways he manages finances through across his platforms and how he gets an email from his bookkeeper every day from each thing. I love that because, like, I don't have any surprises. We did bill pay today as we're recording this. Uh, we operate off of Profit First, which is a Mike Michalowicz thing. Um, and so Profit First Day historically was kind of stressful for me because I didn't pay attention to our finances. I want to go sell and market and do that stuff. Getting that email makes it so there's no surprises. I walked in today stress free because I knew exactly what we were going to do. And so that was an unlock. Um, and then I guess the bonus one is just the thing I was thinking about this morning, Andrew, is there's not one way to do it. I feel like I love following Dan Martell and Cody Sanchez and John Acuff and Alex Ramosi. I love following them and feeding them into my brain. But I do think that everybody has their way, and that's the way to success. And in learning from people across platforms, I realize more and more that there's not one way. It's a bunch of lessons, a bunch of tactics that then you have to make it fit to your life and your personality. And then if you can execute on it, you will have success. But the common theme with all those people is they didn't follow a playbook, right? There wasn't a playbook for Gary Vee. They they broke the playbook. And so I think understanding the skills and then being willing to break the playbook with your own skill set, that's one of the things I see Dan doing.
What's one thing we haven't talked about today that fires you up or you want to talk about?
I think so in the last year and a half, I've lost 30 pounds. And all the cliches that you hear all the time are true is that I feel good. I'm in better shape than I've been in a long time and all that stuff. But what I get passionate about is the fact that it's actually really freaking easy. It's really hard. Let me say it differently. It's simple, not easy. When people were like, when I'd lost 15 pounds, they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "You know what I'm doing. I'm eating less and moving more. We all know what it is. It's the discipline it takes to just go ahead and do it." And what's been cool about the journey of fitness is that like, oh, okay, if I just do the things I know I already should do, I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
But what I've found is it totally translated to business because once you do hard things in one area of your life, you're like, well, I can make 10 sales calls today. And if I make 10 sales calls every single day, most people won't, and I'll succeed. It's those things translate. And to me,
Yeah.
that's what I get passionate about. It's like a lot of the times, unreasonable success can be pretty reasonable. You just do the same stuff that you know you're supposed to do, but just do it every damn day.
Yeah. That's so good. Man, a lot of great nuggets on this podcast. So thanks for coming on, drop some knowledge for us. If people want to learn more about who you are and where what you do, where can they go?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all across all platforms. So if you, I love LinkedIn. That's a big one. You want to learn more about me? Just go to kirbyhossman.com. And I'll be dropping a new book soon too. So it's fun stuff.
Wow, you're a machine. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast here. Don't go anywhere because I want to chop it up with you. But everybody go check out Kirby's stuff. And then in particular, if you feel like you could be in need of his services or know someone that is, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll get them connected.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Cool.